Hey everyone, Tyler here at The Movie Beat. Welcome back to another Korean movie review. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy out there, doing their part, staying indoors, watching some movies. I'm doing my part. I got a chance to check out the 2009 Korean film White Knight. This one is directed by Park Shin-woo. It stars Han Suk-kyu, Ye-jin and Go Soo. This is my copy. It's from the CJ Entertainment limited edition Digipack collection. I love it. I'll show you guys this, how cool it is at the end of the video. This movie is a very unique and disturbing drama movie. It's adapted from a novel called Under the Midnight Sun, written by Keigo Higashino. It's part police procedural, part Shakespearean tragedy. This is a movie, as the film title suggests, White Knight. It's a movie of contrasts. There's a real bright and beautiful exterior that sort of masks this dark malevolence underneath. Far from being your light popcorn fare, this film explores a lot of dark themes like trauma, obsession, greed, revenge. So for me, I would almost like to describe this as a bewitching nightmare, because this movie does use a lot of very exquisite visual aesthetics that sort of keep our eyes fixed on this really repulsive, sort of unforgiving narrative. Now, let's get into this movie review. Detective Dong-soo, played by Han Suk-kyu, leads an investigation surrounding the peculiar death of a man aboard an abandoned ship. With the victim presumed to have been murdered by his extramarital lover, who also turned up dead shortly thereafter, the case is forced shut, but several abnormalities regarding the respective victims' school-aged children, Jia and Johan, push Dong-soo to pursue the case on his own. When mysterious and tragic circumstances arise, Dong-soo is left with unanswered questions that haunt him for years. 14 years later, now washed up and apathetic to the world, Dong-soo is contacted by a young detective who sees a connection between a recent murder and his old case. With the possible involvement of a man named Johan, played by Go Soo, the son of Dong-soo's old murder victim, Dong-soo becomes intrigued and resolves to see the investigation through. But the situation appears more complex than he ever could have imagined when he discovers an aspiring fashion designer named Miho, played by Ye-jin, who is also under an investigation of her own in regards to her fitness to be married to a powerful business tycoon, played by Park Sung-woon, is somehow mysteriously entwined in his pursuit of the killer. Now, it's hard to talk about these characters in White Knight without giving away too many spoilers, and this really has to do with how a lot of the characters' pasts and motives unfold as this movie ramps up. It's real safe to say that each character is damaged in their own way, though, and the film spends a lot of time revealing the varying dimensions to each of the characters' personalities, which I have to say is probably the meat and potatoes of White Knight. It's a very intriguing mystery. Basically, I would describe it as a visual page turner. This is also enhanced by the way that this movie sort of shows the past investigation 14 years prior, along with the new investigation. It's not an easy case to crack because of how that they're dropping the clues along the way. I do like how some of the past clues help us understand the present situation, and some of the present situation clues help us understand the past situation. So it's a very interesting drama mystery in that sense. The procedural side to White Knight is very strong, and it's really carried hard by the incredible Han Suk-kyu, one of my favorite Korean actors. He plays Detective Dong-soo, and a lot of the police work and investigative scenes are portrayed really well. It was interesting to see a lot of the crude tactics and brash attitudes of the past investigative work alongside with some of the more refined and modern techniques in the present day investigation of a murder and how they dissect the crime scenes. So that was really cool to watch. Now, the film also has a very interesting secondary procedural led by actress Lee Min-jung's character, who's tasked with following around the character Miho, played by Ye-jin. She's got to make sure that this character is clean and suitable to marry. Has that image, that pure image that's, not going to tarnish the reputation of this powerful businessman. So that's interesting as well. And a lot of the proverbial skeletons in the closet, as they start to, come out left and right, things get interesting pretty quick in her investigation. So it makes for this sort of double procedural, and of course the investigations do eventually merge, and it's probably one of my favorite aspects of this movie. Probably the most interesting part of White Knight is how it presents itself as this love tragedy, which wasn't actually that clear to me on my first viewing, and I don't exactly know why. I think perhaps I was a little bit too caught up in the whole procedural aspect of things, but on my second viewing, this was front and center. This whole light versus dark nature of these characters was just in my face, and it's portrayed in almost every scene. So from the lighting of the settings that they occupy, Son Ye-jin's character Miho, she's in a lot of brightly lit cafes, brightly lit bedrooms. She's in daytime scenes. Go Soo, who plays the character Johan, he's in dark cafes. His bedroom is dark. He's in night scenes all the time. Their clothing, Son Ye-jin wears bright clothes, white dresses. Go Soo is in black hoodies and leather jackets. Their lovemaking scenes, Son Ye-jin comes across as very tender, and Go Soo is just rough and intense. The character Miho, she's very delicate, she's distant. Johan, he's very intense and visceral. So this whole contrast was just like, it was very interesting to see visually. And, you know, without giving away any spoilers, so plug your ears for like 5 seconds, everybody, if you haven't seen this movie. You know, the death of their parents, not really a spoiler, the death of their parents sort of has them bonded in this like twisted, dark fate that prevents their union, and it was really reminded of like a Shakespearean tragedy. So from a narrative and visual standpoint, this movie goes for broke, and is really unique in its ambition. So I respect it for that, and I really enjoyed it for those reasons. The main disappointment I think I probably had in White Knight is some of the characterizations and questionable motives. While childhood trauma is a reasonable explanation for some of their behavior, and they do have some odd moments in this movie. Both Son Ye-jin and Go Soo's character, they really don't get a lot of opportunity to show much acting range. And what I mean by that is a lot of times their characters come across as very rigid and distant, almost too distant for me in a lot of their scenes. So while this does add to a lot of the mystery surrounding their characters' backstories and gets you wanting to know more, it just wasn't all that fun at times to watch. So overall, I feel like White Knight is one of the rarer, intense Korean drama films whose script doesn't come like pre-packaged with all those built-in beats that you would see in a commercial movie or you would expect to see. The movie plays out more like 2017's Heart Blackened, if you guys have seen that with Jae Min-shik. What I mean by that is it has its slow pacing at times without a lot of action, but you're still on the edge of your seat like a page turner should be. So I do think it holds true to its roots in that sense, and the film is quite long. It's over 2 hours. It's like maybe 2 hours and 10 minutes or so. So it does get some time to explore maybe a lot of the content that the novel went over. White Knight, I do think, has been criticized for being a little bit confusing with its complex structuring, and it probably is more rewarding, and I was able to fully grasp it a bit better on a second viewing, but that's an understandable criticism if a movie can't be fully understood the first time that you watch it. Maybe you will be a little bit more attuned and you'll get a lot of it better on a first watch, but I do feel like this is one of those movies that gets a lot better with repeat viewing. So for those up to the challenge, I do think it will be an experience that you're not likely to forget. It does have a lot of impact, this movie. So I want to rate this movie a pretty strong 7 out of 10. I did like it a lot better on my second watch. So, you know, check it out. Let me know what you guys think. For those that can track it down, or you might already own it, this is, I think, maybe the best way to watch this movie. It's the CG Entertainment Limited Edition First Press Digipack. So it's got this really cool slipcase, really good with the theme of the movie, White Knight. It's Son Ye-jin's character. She's got her white dress on, the black back with Go Soo's character. Really good slip here. And this was one of the earlier limited edition releases. So back in the day, they did a lot of these image boards inside. my personal favorite. I love the image board. So this is cool insert, the disc and the back. So it's awesome with all three main actors there. If so, I would recommend tracking this one down. White Knight 2009 CJ Entertainment limited edition digipack edition. So there it is. This is going to be my last video review for a little while because I have a trip that I cannot postpone overseas, and it has to be done. So when I come back, I am moving to a new location. So I got a lot kind of on my plate. I'm going to try to keep some written reviews coming, but there's not going to be any video reviews for a little while. Wish me luck in my health, and I'm going to be, masking and sanitizing everywhere, but it's going to be a little bit difficult for the next month or so. So for those of you who've kept up with the channel, I appreciate your support and everything that you guys are contributing with your comments and just joining the community. So thanks. Until I come back, keep watching movies. You know what to do. Stay safe. I'm Tyler at The Movie Beat. We'll see you soon.